We just talked to Ambassador John Bolton moments ago. The president named Ambassador Bolton to replace H.R. McMaster as the White House National Security Advisor. But just last Thursday, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders spoke to POTUS and General H.R. McMaster. Contrary to reports, they have a good working relationship, and there are no changes at NSC. So there you go. My Solid Gold party panel joins me right now to react. Republican strategist Noel Nikpour, comedian Jimmy Fela, and Observer columnist Michael Malice. Michael, I used your tweet in questioning the ambassador. Did you see that?
I was sitting right here. Yeah.
In fact, you stuck the tweet right in front of me.
I had a shiv in your back.
Well, that was, he said, military options for North Korea. He said there are military options unless China steps up. So it wasn't like, let's bomb them now.
No, but it was like if China doesn't agree to regime change, he says a strike's inevitable. And he also said that we can't let Seoul have a veto on what's in our best interest. So yeah, we're just going to hit North Korea and then have them just decimate Seoul, but it's fine. I mean, the president ran against the Iraq war. I remember very clearly during the debates where he actually basically blamed Bush for 9/11 in a sense, and everyone booed him to Jeb Bush's face. The one good thing about this nomination, besides the fact that we all know him, is that we get to see him fired in a few weeks on Twitter while he's either in the bathroom or giving a speech like James Comey in the most humiliating manner fashionable possible.
Do you think he's going to be, Jimmy, you think he would be fired short term?
No,
Ambassador Bolton?
Not.
He's looking for a tough guy.
Let me tell you something. I love this hire, and I'll tell you why I love this hire. There's an old saying in sports that you have to play the teams on the schedule. And what that means is you've just got to concentrate on whatever's in front of you. If you look at the schedule right now, when it comes to national security, you've got North Korea, which is a very volatile situation. You've got Russia. You've got things going on in Syria. The world's a mess. The point is, I like someone who's a little hawkish right now. And when Trump was, maybe you'd say hawkish about North Korea, when he had his rhetoric about Rocket Man and bigger buttons and smaller buttons, everybody said, oh, that kind of talk's going to lead us off the ledge. But it didn't, because what these people understand in this world on fire scenario we're in is strength and force. So I like the hire. You can call me crazy, but it's something I believe in.
Nicole, he knows his way, as he said, he knows his way around the corridors of power. He's been in the White House before, so he's got his act together. That, at the very least, I think should make people happy.
Yeah, and I think he's a good hire. And I like the fact that he has different views. And I like the fact that these views are going to incorporate that, they're going to find their way to the White House. Just like I like the fact that Larry Kudlow, look at how Larry Kudlow's views on trades were opposite of the president. But it's good to have that voice in there. So I like the fact that that Trump is changing out people that are not working for him, because finally he's going to get it right. And you've got to remember, this is a guy that was in the private sector. He's not used to government. So he's used to changing out teams. If they're not a good fit for him, he's in with the, out with the old, in with the new.
Well, obviously, there's a lot of churn at the White House, right? But it looks like maybe this is a new kind of confrontational approach. The president, he's changing his lawyers. He's kind of fighting back at Mueller. Now he's going more confrontational on the, in international affairs.
Let's get Steve Israel for Secretary of Education. I mean, you're talking about this like it's a different hiring a maid. This guy's behind the Iraq war. That's hundreds of thousands of corpses. So to have him in the White House when everyone repudiated the Iraq war.
There are a lot of Republicans, though. If you are going to staff the White House, but if you're
that Iraq war devastated the Republican Party and gave us Barack Obama. So even from a strategic point of view, it was a debacle. No one is defending it except for people like Jeb and these demonic neocons like Bill Kristol.
Well, but like I was going to say, if you want to staff the White House with people who are against the Iraq war, it's a very small pool.
Boo-hoo. But again, what the problem is? I mean, that's exactly. I'm sorry, if I want to staff the White House with people who are anti-war, that's a good starting point. And Trump has been he's got a short bench to deal with. That's true. But this is, if you're talking about draining the swamp, he's the biggest swamp walrus there is.
I made Michael cry.
Yeah, you really roughed him up on this. I mean, honestly, I didn't even have a position until I realized Malice was on the panel, and I'm like, we love the hire. But let me get this in here again. The rhetoric, the bluster, where has it gotten us? to the negotiating table.
That's true.
We're negotiating with North Korea. We had preliminary talks today.
That's true.
We're talking about sitting down with them. They've responded to sanctions. They have responded favorably, you'd have to say, to the threat of force. You don't like the threat of force.
No,
I understand why
like
you
the
do.
threat of force. He's not threatening. This guy actually did it.
But again,
this guy has blood in his hands.
about China?
But you're
Look at the
but
trade.
again, you're
They're
living.
finally gonna come to the table.
You're living, not to say, but in almost a false reality where Trump isn't the actual national security advisor. The last word is always Trump's.
Correct.
Got to go. Quick question: do you think the meeting's going to happen? Is he going to meet in North Korea? Is he going to
Absolutely, and I'm sure it was cleared behind the scenes beforehand.
All right. Coming up, the House passed a massive $1.3 trillion spending bill, and then members of Congress bolted out of town. The Senate takes it up next. But whatever happened to fiscal responsibility? Chris Starwalt is live in Washington with reaction. I'm Tom Shalhoub, still in for Kennedy. President Trump today told reporters he wants to testify to Robert Mueller on the Russia investigation.
Thank you very much. President, would you like to testify to Special Counsel Robert Mueller, sir? Thank you.
But if he testifies, he'll be without one of his biggest supporters. This morning, his attorney, John Dowd, resigned. The New York Times is reporting that Dowd felt that his strategy of cooperating with the Russia probe was increasingly at odds with the president's desire for a more aggressive approach, and he decided to quit because his advice was being ignored. Dowd's resignation comes as the House Intelligence Committee voted to release the Republican report on Russian meddling, which found no evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia and Russian officials. Hashtag witch hunt. See, I screwed up my read because I was trying to get the hashtag right. So is it wise for the president to testify? The panel is back. Noel Nickpour, Jimmy Fela, and Michael Malice. Michael, this is part of my thing. I think he's taking he wants to get tough across the board. He wants to fight with Mueller.
Well, also, I'm sure any lawyer worth his salt is going to be telling their client, please stop tweeting hashtag witch hunt and all sorts of other things that it's going to be used possibly as evidence later on. Yeah. And Trump's going to tell him, this is how I got elected, this is how I'm going to stay elected. But Trump's in a tricky position because when you have some counsel like this, they've got to show something. And there's so many laws out there, it's almost impossible not to dredge something up. And remember Ken Starr in the 90s, he was there to investigate Whitewater, and he ended up with witness tampering, perjury, and obstruction of justice. So when these people have an open-end path to whatever they want to find, they have to deliver a body, or else all that money will be gone for nothing.
Yes, so they're going to get him on something, Noel, whether it's technicalities, whether it's financial stuff, whether it's lying. So it may not be collusion, but they'll get him on something. But the president is betting, hey, go ahead. Charge me with that. I'll just go directly to the American people. Is that what he's thinking?
Well, he's always rallying to his base constantly. He's always pretty much in campaign mode. He loves the rallies. He loves, he loves putting this out here on Twitter because he likes seeing some of the feedback. And he gets great feedback with, you go Trump and winning and MAGA. And, so he likes doing this. Bad advice, though. I mean, that would be horrible for him to be
to sit down with Mueller.
Awful, and I think it's probably driving his attorneys. Attorneys think one way, and Trump thinks all many ways. So you can imagine, just think about, being an attorney and having somebody so slippery as Trump as your client. You don't know what they're going to do. You don't know if they're going to wake up at 3 a.m. and tweet something that you're going to be like, oh my gosh. I mean, so it must be really hard to be a very serious attorney defending Trump when you don't know what he's going to come out and say. And Trump is going to do whatever he wants.
I think he's usually the method is you take out the checkbook, right, Jimmy? Yeah. I mean, you write somebody a check and tell them to shut up.
You figure it out. That comment today that he wants to testify on the way out of the meeting is a brilliant stroke by him because he knows they're not going to let him testify. Yeah. But this gives him the credit for looking open. Yes. This is a bar scenario. This happens in bars all the time. There's a guy who wants no part of fighting because he knows it's going to be a problem. Yeah. But when the cops show up, he acts psycho because he can look tough because he knows he's not going to wind up fighting. This is a classic bar move. I know he doesn't drink, but it's a classic bar fight move. Yeah. No part of this, but let's do it.
Yeah, it's like, remember the I wouldn't waste my time. They're holding back. I wouldn't waste my time.
It's not worth it. Who cares? And another genius point, the fact that they're saying, Mueller's going to set a perjury trap for Trump if they talk, is basically a roundabout way of admitting this probe has nothing. If after all of this time, we're sitting around hoping Mueller can set a perjury trap, you're telling us you wasted everybody's time and money. Hashtag witch hunt.
Yeah, because they were looking for collusion from the very beginning. And the whole thing is about Russia. It's Russia. That's the whole deal.
Meddling. Russia and meddling.
Meantime, Donald Trump and Joe Biden are headed towards a septuagenarian smackdown. But unlike most fights between men their age, this one didn't start over a disagreement during a shuffleboard match. It started when Biden had this to say about the president on Monday.
When a guy who ended up becoming our national leader said, I can grab a woman anywhere and she likes it, and then said, I didn't make a mistake, but they asked me, would I like to debate this gentleman? And I said, no. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Strong close. But the president wasn't scared of Biden's tough talk and responded on Twitter saying this, quote, crazy Joe Biden is trying to act like a tough guy. Actually, he's weak, both mentally and physically, and yet he threatens me for the second time with physical assault. He doesn't know me, but he would go down fast and hard, crying all the way. Don't threaten people, Joe. So, could the Scranton scrapper get the best of Dapper Don, or would the president do so much winning he'd get sick of winning? Okay, Michael.
Yeah.
Look, you know, these guys, they fight it out. Did Trump bring him down to his level? He does it to everybody.
Joe Biden's mentor was Ted Kennedy, and during Ted Kennedy's eulogy, Biden talked about how he literally sat next to him for 20 years in the Senate. So if that's your mentor, he's going to be pretty good at taking people out, and with clean hands and
Mike's not saying in the ring. He's saying the ride to the fight. He's saying on the way to the arena.
Yeah, that's, you know, in the back seat.
On the ride back.
Yeah. I do want to say this. We should have this fight. Like, we should put this fight on pay-per-view and pay off the national deficit. If Mayweather-Pacquiao could do $1 billion, Trump-Biden,
the winner
pay-per-view.
takes on Kim Jong-un.
That's funny.
But it's not fair. I mean, he's way younger than, what is he, 71? The other guy's 75.
Yeah, I mean, my God. And it's a 3-inch height difference. It's impossible.
Yeah. At an age when these guys are supposed to be battling arthritis, you know. But no, I do want to say this. Like, Trump is more athletic. He plays a lot more golf than Biden does. But Biden does have tremendous hand strength from giving all those creepy back massages in Washington. Let's not discount that Vulcan.
Hey, check it out.
Oh, yeah,
dumbbells.
He's doing the curls.
Oh, curls for the girls.
Yeah, there he is.
He's a tough guy. Look, if anybody could go against Trump, Biden would have done better against Trump than Hillary, wouldn't he have? He's able to go mano a mano.
At me, yeah. Absolutely. If he can take on anyone. My money's on Trump, and if Trump doesn't want to get his hands dirty, he'll pay somebody to come in and fight for him.
No question. Biden would do better than Hillary. Hillary can't take a set of stairs. She's not taking
She
Trump.
took sniper fire.
Yeah,
what are you talking about? Yeah.
Battle helicopter?
Yeah.
Battle hard.
Is he going to run? Is Biden going to run?
I hope she runs again. Wouldn't that be great? Biden's going to run.
No.
Why wouldn't he?
Kristen
Why wouldn't he
Gillibrand.
run?
I mean, I don't even.
And Sanders should run, and Warren. They should all run for the hills.
Kristen Gillibrand's going to run.
Thanks, everybody. Michael, Jimmy, and Noel coming up.